So in this particular class, we're going to be looking at career paths for facility managers, opportunities in the industry, and we're going to be exploring skills and competencies in facility management. So you know already how to map your path, know what you can do with the background you already have in the industry. So basically, to be a facility manager, like most of you here, you basically you don't necessarily need what I would call a formal facility management qualification. Abroad in the Western world, there are so many degrees and diplomas in FM that you can say, oh, we won't employ unless you have an FM qualification. But now, from us in the developing world, we'll normally make do with any diploma, any higher education. Basically, you need to just be able to read, write, understand, and analyze. Read, write, understand, analyze. If I were to take the read, write parts and stretch it out, I'll say communicate, because communicate also has verbal sides to it. So communicate, read, write, analyze, and analyze. And what was the fourth one? Communicate, read, write, analyze, and who can prompt me? What was the fifth one I mentioned? Understand. Yes, understand. Okay. So let me just quickly make a note of those. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it slips off when I'm outlining them. So basically, you should be able to read, write, communicate, which is a bit broad, analyze, understand, right? Or you can flip that up and say start with understand. And so key basics, right? So I would employ you to be in my facility management team if you can do all these things. Not necessarily because you have a degree or a diploma in any field, okay? But people who have a degree or diploma in the built environment tend to have an edge because, semantics, terminologies, industry jargons, you'll be familiar with them a little bit. And then you would have had some understanding of certain aspects of the FM content, like architecture and design, quantity surveying, scope of work, for example, engineering, some of those building services aspects. People who have done something in the social sciences, in hospitality, also have some of these advanced estate management, for example. These are just, not necessarily requirements that you need to become a facility manager. But when you come into the industry, being able to gain some experience, which means that you need to learn quickly and be able to perform some roles. When you do, to grow in FM, we normally would not recommend adding degrees upon degrees, like academic, pile up of academic qualifications. No, they're not really relevant for your FM success because it's a practical profession. It's a profession of what you can do. How are you perceived? How strategic are you? How much delivery can you, how much services in terms of alignment of the services to corporate goals and objectives can you deliver, right? So you gain experience, and then certifications are ways to level out, okay? There are ways to level out. So have you done the FM diploma? Have you done the FMP? Have you done the SFP? Have you done the CFM? Because certifications create a standard. There's an examination, there's a content you must cover. Anybody that has the certification is seen to be, equal in terms of standing in the industry. And this is very different from degrees. A degree will have the additional dimension of which university did you get a degree from, you know, and so degrees are not equivalent anywhere in the world. Degrees are not equivalent. So if you stack up degrees, you can only actually be compared to holders of that degree from the university you came from, which is very, very subjective. But as you grow in the profession, I'll just talk you through some of the programs you can go through. We are working right now together as we speak on this program, the Facility Management Mastercraft Diploma, is because we found so much of a gap in terms of a real package for a comprehensive system of training facility managers in the African continent. That's why we are doing what we are doing. So we have to put together a lot of content and effort to come up with what we are doing today. But before now, you would have the FM Essentials, which is a series of 10 short workshops taking over a 4-day period as an introductory qualification. It's not necessarily a qualification, it's just a certificate course in FM brought in by the International Facility Management Association. IFMA also has credentials, 3 credentials, the FMP, the SFP, and the CFM. Now, of these 3 credentials, there is only one certification. That certification is the Certified Facility Manager. Incidentally, the CFM is the only globally recognized certification in FM in terms of certification. But there are more credentials. So the FMP covers 4 of the competency areas we'll be talking about today. The SFP covers 1, which is sustainability, and the CFM covers all 11. So that makes it quite unique because it's robust, and it examines your ability to solve problems, not necessarily your ability to know and understand concepts. That's what FMP and SFP does. The FMP and SFP is knowledge-based, while the CFM is experience-based. The FMP and SFP are courses you can take online and do the exam on your computer, and no proctored, no monitoring. Just do it as many times as you can until you pass them. The CFM requires an exam center, 1 approach at a time. If you fail it, it takes some months to read again, to go and take it again. Before now, we only had the opportunity of going to a prometric center in Ghana to write the CFM. But now you can take the CFM proctored at home or in your office. What it means now is that it will be as if you are in an exam center, because you must have a screen with a monitor, a camera that someone abroad or anywhere in the world can watch your taking of the exam, to make sure no one is there with you and you don't have any material to refer to make the exam as secure as has always been. So that's why that's what the CFM is now. It's a very rigorous program. Anytime between 3 to 20 days of study to get through it. And then the BIFM training is a skill set level of training that is fashioned or patterned around the British professional qualification system. They have a national vocational qualification system in the UK that the BIFM, now the IWFM. So I'll need to edit this to reflect the Institute of Workplace and Facility Management, IWFM, as the new name for BIFM. And they have courses and competencies. They take them all in modules. You can go from level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, level 7 in facility management. And then in their own system in the UK, each of these levels kind of correspond with diplomas, degrees, master's degree, PhD, professionally. You have the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors having a suite of qualification that tops out the charter status, the ROICS, the member of the ROICS is a chartered member status. For you to become a chartered member as a facility manager, if you already have your CFM, you will need to go through some evaluation to get your MRICS, because your CFM is equivalent to ASOC RICS, which is the level below the charter status of RICS membership. And then if you don't have your CFM and you want to become an Emirates, you have series of evaluation that you will go through, which is a bit more rigorous than those who come in with their CFM certification. To grow in facility management, you must learn to network, okay? So I typically at this point to recommend to you membership in the national body of FMs in Nigeria, the Association of Facility Management Practitioners in Nigeria. We have, you know, our LinkedIn page called the Nigeria FM Initiative, also on Facebook as the Nigeria FM Initiative. There's also a Telegram platform that has about 700 members of us nationwide. Everyone is invited to join. We'll drop the link in your class group so that anybody interested in joining these associations should join. You need to be able to network with a larger body of FMs, so you know what's going on around your profession. Many other professions in the organization you work in, maybe you work in a bank or insurance company, or in a medical institution, you will find that people associate with their own professional bodies. But FMs almost are like orphans in the organization. They don't seem to know if there is something going on in their own profession. For example, we have the World Facility Management Day coming up on May 12th, and we are planning some very big activity to make it, you know, mark it significantly on that day. So we can pen that date down, and there'll be more information for us to participate in that. But basically, you network, you solve problems with other people, you benchmark, you get ideas on how others are doing things. You are able to expand your connection or your network for more opportunities, more business opportunities, because you are part of the National Association. And then we have training available for from local partners. I just listed 3 of them here. And one of this training that we provide in Nigeria is what you are part of today. If you come to IFMA Nigeria chapter, for example, take any of those short courses they have, you will find Max-Migold there again, because we develop all the content and we handle the faculty for IFMA Nigeria chapter local training, which is basically what you're going to be taking in this diploma program, because everything we've broken down into the strategy course, the maintenance course, the operations course, the workplace productivity course are all bundled into what we are offering you as a comprehensive training in the FM Mastercraft Diploma. So let's look at some skills and competencies you need. So we've looked at the, we'll still talk about the competencies from the IFMA standpoint in a bit, but I need to just reiterate some of these skills that you need to succeed as an FM. The first is interpersonal skills. You must be able to relate with people. This goes beyond customers relationship, goes client relationship, contractor relationship, virtually all stakeholder relationship. Very important for the facility manager. So you must be a people person. You cannot say, I don't smile to people. I don't really like, you know, people. I don't have any friends. I don't want any friends. And you say you're an FM. No, no, no. You must be someone who's very good with interpersonal interactions. The FM must be very good with procurement and negotiation. We deliver services at costs. And most of the times our clients and business owners are worried about the kind of costs that we put on the table, right? If anyone else can find a cheaper way of providing the service that we provide or the goods that we provide, then we have failed. So the FM should be very, you know, skilled in procurement, finding the right people, the right vendors and the right suppliers, being able to specify correctly what needs to be acquired, being able to monitor the acquisition and installation process and managing that entire cycle. The FM will typically experience all kinds of interruption of his schedule. You might have, I want to achieve this today. You come to work and by 10 o'clock, everything goes a different direction. You see yourself running in another direction completely, right? Being able to manage your time is a skill that the FM must have. Okay, so we have this time management matrix that we're going to be talking about in the performance management module. that you can use to drop all the things you do on a regular basis. The things I do, can I categorize them according to how urgent or how important they are? Sometimes we have so many urgent things we are dealing with that are not important, and we can spend all our time on urgent stuff and not do any of the important stuff. The FM needs to have project management skill. I've heard of FM talking about project management as a profession. Project management is not a profession, it's a skill that is needed in virtually all professions. The IT guys need project management skills, construction guys need it, the FM need it, the finance team need it. Everybody needs to have project management skill. It's all about being able to organize a set of tasks to achieve an objective, and being able to walk through everything in between that identification of the problem and the solution through resource planning, communications planning, schedule planning, budgeting, cost management, and so many of the skills that you need to be able to deliver and not be burnt at the end of the day. Research. Most of the things you will deal with in FM are things that have been encountered before. The FM has to have a good ability to research and find solutions. This is what has been going for many FMs who have not even taken training like this. Many people have been in FM industry for years, and all they keep doing is researching and finding ways to do some things better and better. Okay, so that's a good skill. The FM should also be able to write. You make training materials, you write reports, you write communication with your stakeholders, all kinds of stakeholders. You cannot not be a good writer. You put records down for future reference. The FM must also be good at team working, which means you know how to manage people and not have conflicts when working in team. The FM job is not a job done by one person. So if you are not a team player, you're not a good person when it comes to working with teams, you should just find another profession. Maybe IT or somewhere else will fit you. It's a teamwork that we do in facility management. And then leadership. Leadership is a very broad skill, right? Many of us confuse it for management, you know, the things we do to direct and control the activities, plan, direct, control activities of our subordinates and people where we have direct oversight over. Leadership is both up, sideways, and down, okay? And if you have to succeed in your job as a facility manager, you actually need to succeed as a leader, leading your bosses and managers above you far more than anything else you do. When you get to that point where they feed from your palm, they ask you questions before they take decisions, and even take your decisions as theirs whenever they are acting, then you are leading the bosses properly. You will get a lot of resources to do what you need to do. There will be a lot of alignment between what you are doing and what the bosses expect, because you are leading them well. You are fully understanding them. That's how you are leading them. You cannot lead somebody that you make his life difficult for him. If you send me a report and I have to spend 3 days reviewing the report before I can have confidence in that report, then of course you're not making my life easy for me. You cannot lead me. I cannot count on you for anything. I cannot take you seriously at any time, okay? If I cannot trust you with money, that every time a project is put in your hand, you line your pockets with some benefits along the way, I cannot trust you, you cannot lead me, I cannot take your advice. In fact, some nice ideas will come from you that I will turn down deliberately just because I don't want you to become a thief around me, right? And if you have a history of incompetence where mistakes and recklessness on your part have led to serious losses and embarrassment to me in the past, you can't lead me. Even if you think you are smart on this particular occasion, your antecedents will prevent me from listening to you. And as such, you would have lost completely in that front. So please watch out these 3 things. Okay, increase your competence, reduce mistakes, align with the bosses as clearly and as closely as possible so you can mirror them in decision making and be able to make their work easier by being proactive in the way you analyze and bring them information so that they can just feed directly from you, not to start doing more work on what you have submitted. And finally, integrity. Bosses want to trust you. They want to be sure that If an opportunity comes up and they put you there, you will not embarrass them by lining your pockets with it. So that's key to leadership of your supervisors. The FM must be able to have innovative approach, be able to solve problems, be able to anticipate issues, be able to come up with new ways of doing things, better and better on an ongoing basis. Be able to make decisions. If you make a decision and you've done some careful analysis that you now have a reason why you are making that decision, it's far better to fail than to not make a decision and still fail. Okay, so be what we call assertive in nature. Be able to say, I've considered A, B, C, and based on this, my consideration, I'm going with this option. Okay, you must be IT savvy. Technology is everything. You cannot be working in an Excel spreadsheet and using a calculator beside your side. Okay, you cannot be the one that is resisting the adoption of a new software in your organization just because you don't want to get your head around reading the 180-page manual that comes with it, right? We must be on the edge, cutting edge, forefront of technology adoption. The FM must have numerical skills, okay? Numerical skills come in very many areas of our work. For example, in financial analysis, many of us will come to management and say, we need to pay a deposit so that we can get it cheaper. We've not done any kind of financial analysis to justify that assumption or that conclusion. Many of us will say, oh, we go for this brand over this brand, only based on the fact that this brand is cheaper at the buying time. We've not done any analysis that shows that we have modeled the overall operating costs and maintenance costs and repair costs over the useful life of that comparison we are doing. So many times we submit proposals and initiatives to management and they see that the analysis the numbers are not adding up. They will not take it seriously. Okay, so the FM must be able to use numerical analysis to make suggestions and make decisions. And then you must have emergency reflexes. It's about knowing that anything that can go wrong may go wrong or will go wrong. That's the truth. So having a risk-based approach to your work, where you're always identifying risk and attending to those risks is what we're talking about here. And a go with the flow attitude. So at this point, you just know that things will change, right? And when things change, you shouldn't be the one that is resisting change. Management can come up and say, this is what we want. A client can come up and say, oh, I want to modify the scope to do this. Your job at that point will be to document the variances, the variations or the changes and come up with options of how that change will be implemented. This will be the one resisting change. So we're going to look at the core competencies, communication, environmental stewardship and sustainability, project management, technology, finance and business, leadership and strategy, human factors, operations and maintenance, real estate and property management, quality, emergency preparedness, and business continuity. I think we touched on a bit of them on that list in the last class. So I'm just going to run through them one by one. The FM, for the facility manager, communication is your #1 core competence. You must be able to develop communication plans. It's not enough to say, I'm a good communicator. I can convince people. I can talk to somebody, and even if the person is angry, the person will become very happy with me. That's not what we're talking about here. Being a good communicator means that you can identify all your stakeholders. You know what they want to know from you. You have a schedule or what kind of information, what means of communication, what frequency of feedback, and so on. You have a proactive plan for communication. Many of us wait for customers to ask questions before we give answers. We have failed at that point. A good communicator envisages, anticipates what a particular stakeholder will need at whatever intervals and designs a plan to make sure that a newsletter, an email, a phone call, a WhatsApp message, some regular updates, some requests for information, all kinds of interaction is planned proactively. Okay. and then be able to put proposals forward and get the proposals accepted. If you are not getting your proposals approved, you are the one failing, not the management that is saying no. It's either you are not a good communicator, which means you have not, logically presented the information in a way that will make management say, yes, this is what we are looking for, or your analysis is wrong altogether, or what you are proposing is not aligned with what management is expecting or needs to see. So being able to manage perceptions, of stakeholders and provide information that helps you to control what they are thinking and what they are feeling about the work you are doing is important at this point. Emergency preparedness and business continuity is basically risk planning. It's all about risk planning. Just being able to identify all kinds of risks in different categories and plan for them is what we're talking about. So it's a key skill for the FM. So when FM comes up to say, it's an emergency, it wasn't my fault, there's nothing I could have done about it, I said, no, there are no emergencies in FM. There are no emergencies. You could have anticipated, prevented, accepted consciously, or mitigated the impact of most of the so-called emergencies. Once you anticipate it already, once you know that this is likely to happen, and I already have my plan B where in case it happens, it doesn't come to me as a surprise, so I can't take it as an emergency anymore. The facility manager must be able to support the organization's commitment to protecting the environment. Okay, sustainability is a facility management core competence. We cannot be wasting materials and resources and time. We cannot be draining things from the earth irresponsibly, and we cannot be putting waste into the earth irresponsibly because we know sustainability. The FM spends money all the time, and because you spend money all the time, you need to be able to understand finance and business. You may be able to manage your FM organization, all your budgets, all your financial reporting. You must be able to take care of them. You must be able to create contracts and be able to monitor and manage contracts. The FM must be able to manage procurement processes. I know many organizations have procurement teams, and if a procurement team member is assigned to buying responsibility for facility managers, that person is automatically a facility manager. That person should be trained as a facility manager, because it's not possible to be aligned as a procurement person without actually understanding the profession you are buying or providing services for. Human factors. Be able to develop and implement practices that support performance and goals of the entire organization. Okay, so the things that you put in place will result in the organization being able to attract good talents, being able to have a productive workforce. Everything from security, health and safety, access control, healthful environment, comfort, convenience, you provide them. So you support the organization's human resource function in this sense, okay? You are also able to develop practices that support the performance of your own team. We talked about the manpower inventory a while ago, creating a training plan, making sure that everybody in your team, for example, has a career path, ensuring that there's diversity are all part of the human factors competence. And then the big one, the leadership and strategy. You must be able to lead your team, your FM organization. You're not only leading them, you need to be the one who advocates for their needs to management. You must be able to communicate clearly. You must be able to develop job descriptions for every position that exists in your team. You must be able, as a facility manager, to lead the entire organization. Become the advocate for good conduct. Facility management as a profession has a very negative perception in most organizations. The FM is easily seen as a thief, as a corrupt person. Why? We have so many opportunities to engage in contracting, vendor services, interactions with people who get money from the organization, taking decisions on who we buy, who will supply this, and who will provide that service. That there is already a cloak of corruption hanging on our heads. So if you don't work ethically in such an organization, work above boards, you will be relegated very quickly. Everybody will see you as one of those who man juicy positions in Africa and use it to line their pockets. And once that happens, you can no longer be an advocate for good behavior or good conduct in the organization. And then corporate social responsibility policies are things that you also influence as a facility manager, because you'll be the one delivering most of it. Competent FM is also able to plan strategically. This is very key to FM deliverable. In fact, this is one of the most important aspects of an FM's job. To create a strategic planning process and to make sure that the strategic planning meets the organization's business requirements. In fact, everything you do at the operational level in your FM practice that is not tied to high-level strategies and objectives is a mistake. So many of us start our careers at the operational level and end it there, okay? And I can tell you that that career is a career that's been a mistake all through. You must be able to, create long-term plans for your department that meets the long-term plans of the organization as a facility management leader. The competent facility manager is able to assess the condition of the facility. This is talking about being able to develop an asset register and be able to document defects. They're able to manage maintenance. You see, maintenance is what most FMs are known for, but maintenance is just one aspect of one competence that we need to acquire as FMs. Being able to take care of maintenance contract, occupant services, all of those service level agreements that we need to put in place are all part of the skills. The FM must be able to plan projects, execute projects, oversee projects, and everything that has to do with projects. The FM must be competent enough to create standards. We talked about procedures for doing things a while ago. Service levels, specifications for various services. These are skills that as you go on in facility management, you should be able to develop in yourself. And continuously improve in how you do things. But one aspect of quality as a competence that needs to be emphasized is that of regulatory compliance. Compliance to building codes, compliance to the laws of the land and all those agencies that regulate the built environment is a core competence for facility managers. And also, we need to be able to adhere to company regulations, policies, and standards as facility managers. It's not for us to create everything as an emergency and start asking for step out of process for everything. After we have failed to be proactive, we now start saying, oh, procurement, their processes are frustrating our work. Accounting, their processes are frustrating our work. No, it's your job to be the defender of processes in the organization and contribute to processes when they are being created and when they need to be changed. Real estate and property management. The competent FM is able to develop and implement the real estate master plan. We'll talk about this particular piece of work in one of our modules. I'll be able to oversee real estate assets. When people build, they want to be able to get value from their assets, okay? So everything from space utilization and management to commercial valuation, being able to place a value on what you are getting from the assets is a real estate competence that the FM needs to have. Whether you are running a owned lease or a sublease or rented facility, the FM must be able to manage relationships within landlord, tenants, leases, understand agreements and how those relationships work. Be able to prepare and administer the service charge budget and allocate budget among co-owners and tenants. Even service charge or chargeback system could be deployed within departments within an organization, and the FM should understand how to navigate this process. So it's not like you know that FM's job covers all of these competencies and you should acquire them overnight. Okay, not that you acquire them overnight. It's just that every time you take a training, you learn something, you go and research further and know more. Because when the challenge or the opportunity hits you at work, you begin to tap into your toolbox of knowledge because you know that these are within the scope of the profession you have chosen. And then technology. Competent FM is able to plan, direct, and manage the facility management business and operational technologies. Okay, all technological trends. So if I tell you something about building information modeling, Internet of Things, softwares like CAFM, CMMS, building automation system, IWMS, integrated work management system. These are all technological tools for doing FM work that we should all learn to pick little by little and understand. And much of this will be covered in our program in this class. All right, so the FM career could be in every direction. We said it's core versus non-core, right? So you could be involved in hospitality services in the hospitality industry and you're not an FM. By the time you start providing hospitality services for the corporate world in the banking sector, for example, you have automatically become an FM because in one, hospitality services was core and in the other, hospitality services is not core. So you can use the same discipline, the same skills and be changing professions depending on whether you're on the core versus non-core area. So you can take your career in every direction. There's people that are just dealing with cleaning in FM, fleet management, hardware inspections and maintenance, fire safety, security services. There are so many angles to FM that you can pick to specialize and make a business or make a specialization as a consultant, as an expert in the industry. The FM will typically have the same kind of working hours like other workers, but because we don't come to work with other workers. We don't come to work with them. We come to work for them. Our work should not be an impediment to the core business performing their job. So an FM should not say something like, please give me some time so that I can sweep for you or so that I can service the generator. Telling somebody in the core business to be redundant or to be idle for a moment so that the FM can do his job. That is putting, becoming an impediment or an obstacle to the organization. The FM should plan his work in such a way that proactively he knows how to schedule his activities, his workers, his team members, his contractors, not to be in the way of people who are using the facility, okay? And because of that, instead of the FM coming 8 in the morning like every other person and then having to stay late evenings and come during weekends and Sundays to supervise some projects, the FM can actually work out a schedule of his activities that accounts for his own 40 hours, just like every other employee in the organization. I don't see why I come to the office every day 8, others are closing by 5, and then I have to work till 10. That's exactly what happens to FM, and that's because they have not proactively planned their work to show that they will be busy delivering 40 hours of work, proactively solving problems, and not being in the face of everybody around them. I don't see any HR that will resist your work plan that shows that you'll be coming here every Saturday and you'll be working till 2 p.m., for example. And as such, you will not be coming on Monday and maybe till about 3 or 2 to do a few follow-ups and do a few checks. Or you'll not be coming on Tuesday at all because you are doing some hours on Saturday and doing very late hours on Tuesday. Those are the kind of things we're talking about. It's about planning and showing the value of what you are doing. So you don't have to be stuck with those extra hours. And then, of course, some FMs are so reactive to the point where they cannot even have a moment for themselves. There's no time for phone off or sleeping. the phone is ringing around the clock because there's crisis all around them. Okay, so being able to take time to plan your work will give you some relief. And the FM's responsibility also vary widely, depending on the organization, the type of business they are doing, the kind of customer expectations of you, all kinds of things would affect the FM responsibility. So you cannot go from one organization to another and say, this is what I do as an FM. No, you learn what the organization expects you to learn. And in terms of FM job, progression, there are all kinds of roles. In some organization, you will not hear, you'll not be given some of these titles. So an FM officer, for example, in one organization could be equivalent to a director of FM in another organization, or an FM manager in another organization. Some organizations will give you titles that reflect the organizational hierarchy and organogram, right? So don't worry about it. You are a facility manager, even though you cannot put on your signature or your card, facility manager doesn't remove the fact that your profession is facility management, and therefore you are a facility manager, not your title or designation. The FM can rise to any level in most organizations. You can get to become a director, get to strategic levels where you are part of the business decision-making body. But for many, unfortunately, the FM roles will typically end at some points below maybe admin, below HRO, or below workplace director, which is sad, because if you are really integrated with your business, you understand your business model, you are providing solutions that shows that you fully understand and that you are ahead in providing those solutions, there's a high likelihood that you'll be, subsumed into the C-suite, and you'll get a chance at some of those juicy positions up there. But then, if you work for an FM company providing services, you have the advantage of being able to rise to any level, because FM as a service becomes your business. Okay, so there's so many job opportunities in FM. It could be in maintenance, specialist opportunities like people who are consultants in energy, consultants in environmental issues, consultants in fumigation and pest control, and so on and so forth. And then you have the typical operations FM. Don't sit down as an FM and say, it's what I see on a day-to-day basis I will do. Try to build yourself, build your resume, build your training and specialization to become good at something beyond the day-to-day running of facilities. Okay. If you work for an FM company, you have a lot of varied experiences. So you can be assigned to a hospital, and the next year you are in the mall. After that, you are serving in the airports. So you meet more clients. You get to understand different businesses and what they are trying to accomplish. Okay, that gives you an edge. Okay, but the only downside from working from an FM company point of view is the fact that client companies are what we call demand organizations these days. They tend to pay more for the same role than the typical FM company. So if you're working in a oil and gas company as an FM, for example, you probably will be earning twice what the FM contractors regional manager or head of contract who is managing your operations is also earning. So that's some difference there. So those advantages and disadvantages are listed out there. I just ask you to read them. We've talked about the hard and soft services differentiation before, and I'm just going to wrap up the class here and ask you to read up some of the other content. I talked about technology extensively. I want to take some discussion before we wrap up this evening. If there's, I don't want to miss this item. So I don't want to miss this one. I want to spend a few minutes on this one. So FM operates at 3 levels: operational, tactical, and strategic. At the operational level, you are doing the shop floor activities: security guarding, landscaping, maintenance, cleaning services, meeting rooms set up, all kinds of stuff happens at that level. There's a large pool of people operating at this level, okay? And the highest level of planning will be rosters, reporting templates to complete, bid plan for security. You're basically interpreting contracts that are already in place. At the tactical level, you are defining and spelling out your service level for service level agreements. You're creating contracts with vendors. You are creating budgets for next year, for example. You're implementing activities based on your program set out in the budget. At the strategic level, you are looking beyond 1 year, because at the tactical level, you are making plans for 1 year at most. Whereas at the operational level, you are acting and planning for weekly, monthly activities. And then at the strategic, you are looking at long term. This is where you talk about strategic master planning programs. You are taking decisions that affect the lower levels. And so if you ask me whether it's cooler or hotter at the top, I can tell you from 25 years of experience that it's actually cooler at the top. Why? Decisions that are reached at the top, if they are smart, intelligent, and aligned, what happens? You create the system for efficiency and effectiveness at the bottom, 2 levels, that will reduce all of those reaction and all of those emergencies and issues we come across in our jobs. And as facility managers, if you want to rise quickly up, start making higher level planning, start using higher level analysis for the things you do. If you've not been developing budgets before, start working out on the budgets now. If you've not been developing, contributing to creation of contracts with vendors, start working on contracts now. Start doing service level agreements that you have moved yourself up to tactical level. And then by the time you start creating technology choice analysis, start creating facility condition assessment of long-term needs, capital planning, for example, master plans, you are now operating at a strategic level. You can already at the level you are, start using tactical and strategic level tools to do your work so that you can be elevated easily. People perceive that you are strategic from the way you do operational and tactical work. You find reasons to support the decisions you make at the operational level. You make sure those reasons align with strategic objective of the organization. Then, of course, you'll be given a chance at strategic positions. All right, so I'm going to stop here and let you ask your questions. That's the last. All right, so you can review your notes for a minute or two, and let me see your hand if you have a question. Answer, I'm seeing you today. Awesome. I want you to ask a question, but I need to see your face.
You have seen my picture today.
Yeah. Okay, not your picture. You are being on video. Go ahead, ask a question.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, sir. You made mention of facility managers being involved in maintenance only. Can you as well tell us how they can be involved in the operational role as well?
Yeah, the FM is always involved in operations and maintenance. And I kind of stress that if that's all you do, you are only functioning in a very small fraction of your scope. How far you can expand or magnify your responsibilities and the results you provide for your organization. So in the operations, the FM handles security, FM handles cleaning programs, the FM handles power management, the FM handles water production operations, and so many things. You know, operations is what you do on a day-to-day basis to provide services to your customers. And maintenance is what you do behind the scenes to ensure that operations can be sustained, to ensure that operations does not stall. Okay. Olayemi.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Okay. I want to ask, in comparison with the normal MSc in facility management and CFM, what is the difference in the scope, and which one could be rated higher in terms of
All right, I mean, this your question is a tricky one, no?
That's
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah.
Which course can someone take in terms of in FM that has to build someone's capacity in terms of financial skills? You know, the accountants and them, the strategy at the strategic level, you are thinking of financial plan for years, maybe 5 years, 10 years. I've been in an interview like the one I told you the other time.
Mm-hmm.
We are planning for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Put at the kind of questions that was being asked, and the areas that I think FM generally lack the skill.
Yeah.
Though some of us are limited with maybe normal budgeting for a year span. So something that we need to look at, maybe 5 years strategic plan, and then be able to project. So what kind of skill, FM training can one, do to gain that kind of skill?
Okay, so there are textbooks, right? That FMs. In fact, I'll typically say it. If you are here as a facility manager, you are in this course, doing this training, I would say, don't depend on just what we are teaching, right? There are textbooks online in FM that you can actually search for and find certain relevant content that you can use to beef your area of specialization in certain places, certain sectors or certain areas where you already feel that you have a gap. For example, our financial management class will give you a series of concepts that you need to go and expand on further. We have one class of financial management. And in that class, we're going to be talking about life cycle cost analysis, for example, right? But a 3-hour class cannot teach you everything about capital planning using life cycle cost analysis. A textbook that is probably 80 pages or 70 pages can take life cycle cost analysis and distill such level of detail into you. At some time in the future, we are going to build more and more content to specialize in each of these competencies in such a way that we can have a 1-week induction program workshop for just one of these small topics that is forming part of what we are teaching in this class. So see this one as opening your horizon to see the opportunities that are there for you to research further. And the content there's content everywhere for you to gobble up and become an expert. So as for that, there are short courses online. There are, courses, from different organizations right now, abroad or anywhere you can pick a short course and study. But of course, by the time you are done with the FMMC and you decide to start doing some, just a simple spreadsheet analysis, you get some ideas from here that is going to help you start on the basic level. On the CFM master's degree, and when I was teaching this class, I said, university degrees are subjective. A master's degree from UNILAG, University of Lagos, might sound like a very important degree because University of Lagos has a very high rating among universities in Nigeria. But the same master's degree from the University of Oxford or Stanford or Harvard, they are not mates. In fact, the one from the master's degree in UNILAG should be 70, where the one in Oxford is performing the key function of that activity, right? Whereas, if the certified facility manager's credential or certification is what you have, the man in Japan, the man in China, the man in Nigeria, the man in the US and Canada, they are all seen as being on the same level. Okay, so where you are dropping 3 or 4 degrees from Nigerian universities, somebody just comes in and says, I have done the FMP, I've done the CFM. People don't know how to relate with degree from Akure, degree from Abuja, degree from Kano, when they can have a standard for comparing people, okay? So that's why even in our approach to this program, we are putting a lot of rigor, a lot of assessments and exam into it so that everybody that comes to this program can be compared. So when you are done, somebody says, because I've interviewed people from master's degrees across Nigeria. We have at least 3 universities offering master's degrees in facility management. And after many interviews, I get to the point where I start telling them, please come and join the FM diploma. Because I won't say you have wasted your time, but you have not received enough practical knowledge and skills to be as rounded as possible in the operations of facility strategically. Yeah, so professional training, professional certification, and degrees are all going to stand in different lanes, and you must not try to compare them. Okay. Kingsley.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
But sorry, on this financial this thing, I think I will still be communicating to you.
No problem, no problem. What I'll do is I'll look at my library and whatever textbook has a very good chapter in it, I'll let you know I'll look at any textbook that has a good content that I can refer to you so you can go and get, okay?
That will be very appreciated, sir. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Yeah, Kingsley. Kingsley, your audio is not coming through. You're not muted, but your audio is not coming through. It could be your headsets, your headphones. Try and plug in your headphone and see if your mic can work directly on the computer. Or click on the, yes, it's out now, go ahead. Kingsley, are you talking? No, we're not hearing anything. No, we're not hearing anything. Is your headset? Unplug it. Talk directly to the computer. Okay, let's get Fatima first. When your audio can pop up, just test it anytime during the discussion. Fatima, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, Paul. Earlier on, you were asked with regards disruption, especially special reference to staff retention. And I take your answer coming from an owner of an organization. Now, if we come back to say my situation, working for an organization,
yeah,
and I'm just a team lead. Within that team lead, I have a very good team member. One morning, he or she just woke up to me, "Madam, I'm leaving you next month." If he or she is so reasonable, you know, because it's a practical experience that
yes.
I had.
Yes.
So how you manage policies of how HR can fast track your new intake and how you manage to get the proper person when you know you may be not even involved in the beginning on how you recruit, who you recruit to this new position.
Okay.
How you handle that is one serious case.
Okay.
The other one is with regards networking. I know you mentioning national, that is Nigeria to be specific.
Yes.
I hope if I connect to it, I'll be fitted inside that network.
Okay, so good question. We have an Africa-wide network now that is trying to create national bodies of FM across the continent. Recently, we succeeded with Kenya and Ghana coming up with a national body after Nigeria. South Africa already had. Botswana, I think, is also on course. So it's possible to have more associations. National associations will just be national associations. But what we have done as a company is to kind of have a clone of the National Associations platform as a facility management training Telegram group. So we network within the FM training Telegram group, which is almost 750 members as well. And we also share information and communicate within that group. While it may not be in our constitution to admit people from other nationalities not working in Nigeria into the Nigeria FM initiative, we have not really thought about that when we're coming up with our constitution, the possibility of having other nationalities or working outside Nigeria and being a member of the association. But what we have done is that we have created positions for foreign professionals to work with us in our various committees. So yes, that will be some kind of honorary membership opportunity, which we can discuss further from here, Fatima. Let's go to the recruitment issue, right? So this is what has been happening in most organizations. Facility managers have abdicated their responsibility for the recruitment of people into their teams. And as such, HRO have subsumed that responsibility. HRO has no business describing the jobs of people in your team. The job description should come from you. The person specification should come from you. The selection criteria should come from you. HRO is only a vehicle to implement what you are trying to execute. HRO has no business conducting interviews for roles into your department when you are not involved in that interview. And that is where we need to get it right. Now, we're in organizations where the process have been created to exclude us because our predecessors and ourselves have operated operationally and at the shop floor for years, right? So nobody sees us as strategic enough to give us a place on that seat. So how do you get around that? You start now by developing job descriptions, manpower inventory of skills, discussing with HRO as you are doing this, reviewing your appraisal documentation such that you have a lot of inputs in how the points are calculated for appraisal results in your team members and how appraisal is done. Ensuring that you are part of the, so you develop the job description, evaluation criteria, person specification, those 3 documents, and share with HR. If they now see you as supporting them to that extent, over time, they will let you they will let you take over your recruitment. Okay, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. You need to move up by working strategically over time before you take over your real responsibility in the organization. So we have what we call HRO and hiring manager. Hiring manager is actually the department head who is in charge of that person's job. I am the one hiring. HRO never hires. Okay, and we can reverse that in our organization by beginning to work strategically.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Adela Tayo, please go on.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I want to bring you back to certifications. So I'm trying to find out, after a course like this, an elaborate course like this, so you have the FMP, SFP, and the CFM.
Yes.
Which would you recommend? Saying that the CFM it encompasses all what you have in the FMP and the SFP.
Yeah.
So, like, which will you recommend? And after something like this, what is the gap? This is a bit ahead, but what is the timeline between doing this and moving for something like that?
Okay, so typically the FMP, SFP, and CFM are expensive. They're all more than =1 million naira. Okay, and because of that, you have to afford it first to be able to take any of them. Okay, and for the CFM, you have to have experience in management to go and attempt the CFM. But you're not allowed to take the CFM if you've not reached some team lead, supervisor level for a certain number of years. Okay, so that's one we can say, because that's purely competency based. Okay, we can say you need to have worked as an FM for 5 years altogether. So you can move from this class into the CFM if you already have 5 years, under your belt as experience. Okay, now, but for the FMP and the SFP, I would say the SFP is more of a specialization. So if you are being saddled with managing a green building, a smart building, a high rise, for example, with a lot of technologies built into it, you need to go and do the SFP, because that specialization will expose you to technology that is not available in all the other modules at that depth, because there's a depth to which engineering, sustainability, energy, water, waste, and all of those processes are handled at the SFP. So that's a specialization, right? Now, if somebody had not come for this program already and wants to get a first level entry into FM, I would say go and take the FMP, all right? But if you have come for this program and you don't have the experience for the CFM, then you can still go and take the FMP, because that gives you a credential that is internationally recognized in addition to what you have done with the FM diploma.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see if Kingsley can get through to us now. Still not. Okay, Kingsley, type your question into the WhatsApp platform. I'll answer it there for everybody, okay? Ansem, I see you talking about research materials for your MSc project. I feel your pain, my brother. I know, FM is a young profession. Content is not so widespread, okay? But you need to know how to search. Most FM content are free. You see, you need to know how to search. So first of all, go online and search for shortcuts. Search shortcuts, right? So you can drill. If you search for something and it gives you 3 million entries, you can spend the whole of the month, just pouring through 3 million entries, right? But if you know how to search, So first of all, learn how to search, how to use keywords, certain operatives like semicolons and colons and full stops, and using certain extensions like .png, .pdf, and then colon 2008 to 2021, for example. There are so many tricks to searching that will bring you focused results. Many of us just click on Google and put anything there, and it brings us, throws us in all directions. Okay, so first learn how to search. I wish I had time to bring that up. Maybe in one other module, I'll just bring up one small how to search item I have done in the past, because I search directly for what I want. I don't search for all the millions of things you have on the internet, okay? Because I had to first learn how to search, because the solutions and results and content are actually there, okay? All right, thank you very much, everybody. Have a nice evening. I see that this class didn't come with an assignment in the 2 modules, so yes, kudos, we're starting softly. No assignment, no assessments, it's a good one. So you can read more and research further and be ready for Saturday. Saturday's class on asset management, I will not be in class. You'll be having Engineer Emmanuel Akinola, who is a very fantastic teacher, and I hope you have a good time. We meet again on Tuesday, and then we can do a review of your class on Saturday. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you, Paul. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. Good night.